Guys, I'll discuss about history of banking in India. First, the word bank has been originated in Italy. It is also said that word bank has been derived from the word banco, which means a bench. And the Jews money lenders in Italy used to transact their business sitting on benches at different marketplaces. When any of them used to fail to meet his obligations, his banco or bench would be broken by the angry creditors. Now comes history of banking in India. It is basically divided into two parts: pre-independence and post-independence. And in this lecture I will concentrate on pre-independence part, and in the next video lecture I will discuss about post-independence. So banking was not unknown to India. The Chanakya's Arthashastra mentions the presence of bankers during Mauryan era. There are plenty of references available in ancient Indian literature mentions about indigenous banking system. Now the question comes, what is indigenous banking? According to Indian Central Banking Inquiry Committee, it is defined as a private firm which receives deposits, deals in hundis, or engages itself mainly in lending money. Now comes what is hundi. Hundi refers to financial instrument used to transfer funds from one place to another. This is the image of hundi at the time of British India. This is the official stamp of British India, and this is the order which they have mentioned. And basically it is a right to transfer from one place to another. What you have to transfer, what is the amount, all these things were mentioned at this part. Now in Chennai, these indigenous bankers are called Chettis. In northern India, Sahukars, Mahajans and Khatnes. In Mumbai, Shroffs and Marwadis, and in Bengal, Seths and Banyas. Now, the story of commercial banking in India starts from Bank of Hindustan in 1770 in Calcutta by Alexander and Company. It is basically an European agency, and this is the first commercial bank in India. Always remember, it is the first commercial bank in India, Bank of Hindustan. The bank was started mostly to meet the needs of foreign trade during the period. The Bank of Hindustan failed in the year 1832 with the fall of the agency house of Alexander and Company. Next came the General Bank of Bengal and Bihar. It is established in 1773, proposed by Governor General Warren Hastings. It is also a short-lived experiment of Warren Hastings. In 1786, General Bank of India was set up. Since Calcutta was the most active trading port in India, mainly due to the trade of British Empire, it became an important banking center in India. That's why most of the headquarters were in Calcutta that time. Now, banking in modern sense came to be established in India, the setting up of 3 Presidency Banks. The first one was Bank of Bengal, established in Calcutta in 1806 with a capital of rupees 50 lakh. Second Presidency Bank was Bank of Bombay, established in Bombay in 1840 with a capital of rupees 52 lakhs. The third Presidency Bank was Bank of Madras in 1843 with a capital of rupees 30 lakh. Now they were known as Presidency Banks, as they were set up in 3 presidency states, or they are also known as princely states: Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Presidencies were the unit of administrative jurisdiction for East India Company, and the Presidency Bank was governed by royal charters. A royal charter is a formal document issued by a monarch as letters patent, granting a right or power to an individual or a body corporate. Now next came the Allahabad Bank, established in 1865 and working even today. Allahabad Bank is also known as one of India's oldest joint stock bank, and this Allahabad Bank was also established by some group of European agencies. However, the oldest joint stock bank of India is Bank of Upper India, established in 1863 and failed in 1913. So, the oldest joint stock bank in true sense, which is working even today, is Allahabad Bank. Always remember. The first Bank of India with limited liability to be managed by Indian Board was Outh Commercial Bank, established in 1881 at Faizabad and failed in 1958. The first bank purely managed by Indian was Punjab National Bank in Lahore in 1895. Next came Bank of India, established in Bombay in 1906. Now comes the Swadeshi movement. I will just give you a short glimpse of what is Swadeshi movement all about. Actually, in this movement, all the Indian traders, Indian businessmen used to reject all the British goods and destroy the British goods and use their own Indian goods as a protest for the freedom of India. So in 1906, when this Swadeshi movement came, it also provides a great impetus to joint stock banks of Indian ownership. Many more Indian commercial banks such as Central Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Indian Bank and Bank of Mysore established between 1906 and 1913. By the end of December 1913, total number of commercial banks reached 56, comprising 3 Presidency Banks. And these 3 Presidency Banks merged into Imperial Bank of India in 1921. Now, as the number of banks increases day by day that time, the need for monitoring authority or controlling authority of the bank arises. Then that time Imperial Bank of India played the role of central bank to some extent. But in 1926, Royal Commission on Indian Currency, Hilton Young Commission recommends the establishment of a central bank to be called as Reserve Bank of India. Means it wants some separate body, some separate entity to be called as central bank of the country, as Imperial Bank of India is already involved in the banking business. Now, what are the objectives of this commission? First, to separate the control of currency and credit from the government, and I tell you that Imperial Bank of India, the role that playing in as a central bank of the country is it provides credit from the government, provides credit to the government, and from the government also provides some credit to Imperial Bank of India, and Imperial Bank of India also provides some credit to the government. But the control of currency and issuance of currency at that time was handled by control of currency. It is the body that time that used to issue currency. The next objective was to spread banking facility throughout the country. Now, in 1931, Indian Central Banking Inquiry Committee revives the issue of establishment of Reserve Bank of India as a central bank for India. But guys, after this commission's proposal, the bill was passed in Legislative Council, and that bill was withdrawn that time due to some reasons, due to some protest from Indians also. But in 1931, Indian Central Bank Inquiry revives the establishment of RBI as Central Bank for India. And on 5th March 1934, Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 passed, which constituted the establishment of RBI, and it commenced its operation on April 1, 1935. Always remember, Reserve Bank of India was established on this date, 5th March 1934, but actual starting of its operation was April 1, 1935. Now, RBI started as a privately owned bank. It started with a share capital of rupees 5 crore divided into shares of rupees 100, each fully paid up. But the entire capital was owned by private shareholders. Its headquarters were in Kolkata in the beginning, but it was shifted to Mumbai in 1937. Basically, RBI at the time of establishment was not under the control of central government. It is basically that time was a private entity. Now some interesting facts about RBI. As we all know, Burma seceded from Indian Union in 1937, but RBI continued to act as a central bank of Burma till Japanese occupation of Burma up to April 1947. And after the partition of India and Pakistan, RBI served as a central bank of Pakistan up to June 1948. RBI also helped in setting up of institutions like Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation, Unit Trust of India, Industrial Development Bank of India, National Bank for Agriculture and Development, and Discount and Finance House of India. So this is the history of banking in a short glimpse all about. And in the next video lecture I will discuss about history of banking in India post independence. That is also very important for your examinations, any exam, RBI, IBPS, SBI. So keep in touch, and thanks for liking my video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel Banking Sutra. Thanks.